Hello, friends and viewers. We took a break in our last episode, which was a very, very interesting topic, which I was discussing with Mr. Sanjiv Malhotra, and he was probing into me, deep inside me, to get more of the gory details, and he succeeded to some extent. And we are now back again with the same topic, with the same person, to continue that episode, which I am sure you must have found very interesting. Sanjeev, welcome back, and let's continue with the probe.
It's good to be back. It's a pleasure to be back and wonderful to be in conversation with you, Rajan Bhai. We spoke last time about the sliding doors, the important milestones, the missed moments, and the tornadoes that they created,
Yes.
the hurricanes that come in. Let's shift to a different subject this time. Over a period of time, your character has been shaped by many things, by many people, by many moments. I'm sure you consider most of that shaping for good, and some maybe flawed, as all of us are. Who are the people that shaped your character for good and bad? And what do you attribute to whom?
It's a very good question, Sanjeev, and you know, your character, who you become or who you are and what you were, is not only shaped by the people who come into your life as mentors or guides or what do you call people who affect you, even the bad people, even the negative people who came into your life teach you a lesson. So you learn from there a lot. I would say my first person I learned a lot from was my father, whom I did not get really along with. And I think when I think on the hindsight, that cause of tough love, which I'm sure he loved me because he was the biological father, but he didn't show it to me and tell me all these things, and sat me down and talk to me like a father and son. But his way of showing it was wrong. That gave me a very big motivation to become what he thought I was not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He always looked down on me and blamed me and thought he was a useless fellow, can do nothing, whatever it is. That became my source of power and fuel to do something and show him, because I wanted him to admire me or look up to me and think good of me. I think that was the negative which became positive for me, and that's what I am today. Then coming forward, you meet people in your life, like I mentioned in my book. There was Mr. Sabharwal who started me off for my journey from Siva and Baya, from a job to a business. But I got into a job and I worked with him and I idolized him. I started my pipe with him.
He had an ulterior motive.
Ulterior motive of whatever he had.
Yes.
And that was the cause of my abruptly getting out or thrown out. Not entirely his fault, but also a lot of my fault of the way I behaved. But that was another mentoring, which was great. Then came Mr. Kiku Samtani, who helped me start my business with my first 10,000 rupees with ITL.
ITL.
And that journey for 25 years made me to build an empire in India, which was his beginning. Then coming back to my film journey, which I had for 10, 15 years, the people who came into that, my friends Ram and Babu Nagpal, who got me into the industry, again, just happened. Then that's how we got into the Bollywood industry. And then the income tax raid and the rest of the threats from the underworld was the success of my Bollywood career, and the frustration that I had led me to move to Dubai and have Mr. Salim Khan come here when I came with nothing, though I had everything there. At the age of 53, to come to Dubai with nothing, and Mr. Salim Khan, as a friend, helped me to start my business. And then from there on, my journey for 25 years with ups and downs, with my crash in 2008 where I was down to zero, and then building that up and bringing it back to where it is today, All these people have been a part of my journey. Mr. Ram Batra, when I started Kapoor Lamps way back when I was between my SIBA job,
And the
buyer job,
restaurant
and
story.
the
Lamps.
business, the Kapoor Lamps gap. Mr. Ram Batra came in. I mean, these people have all been iconic. And before my Bollywood career, Mr. Sunil Dutt, Mr. Shatrughan Sinha, Dutt Saab played a very important role in my life. Very important. That's why I've dedicated the book to him. I have his picture in my living room. I have his picture in my office. I have his picture in my reception. Nobody else but his. My mother's, Sai Baba, and his. And I've dedicated the book to him. And in Bombay, when I launched the book, his daughter Priya came for it. It was very emotional for me when she spoke. Shatrughan Sinha introduced me to Sunil Dutt, who wrote the foreword of my book. See, these people have all been, I leave them as stars and legends and whatever. For me, they've been friends and brothers. And we have that relationship. And for me, I don't know whether I should praise myself. One thing which I find good in me, which people have told me, which I realize, is that I've kept up my relationships, which is very important. From school, from the first standard, I had Mr. Stephen Pinto, who was there on my launch. For my first standard, my chuddy buddy was there. He was chairman of Citibank and Mashrak Bank and ADCB, Big Dad. He came. He's still there. And I have still my school friends, my college friends, my business friends, my movie friends, and my current friends were all present on my Bombay launch. It was like a reunion, which was emotional. This just shows even the people who have backstabbed me and cheated me were there. And I kept up those with them, the relationship with them. So that, I think, speaks a lot about my relationship with people, because I don't think it's worth spoiling, or even my relationships for that matter, I told you.
Yes.
I'm friends with everybody now. I talk to them, I meet them, I go and have coffee with them or whatever. There's no animosity, so to speak. There's no anger, there's no revenge. The poison has gone out. So you have that thing. So I've built up that whole thing. That's what I said in my speech in Bombay, is my wealth that I have created. Not the money, not the property, not anything. But my wealth is what I saw that day on the 8th of Feb in Bombay, Dubai, and the 1st of March in Bombay, with 400 people attending, and all of them came because they wanted to and they loved me. And that was a great feeling. Not the book launch, but those things. That is what I wanted to say.
The book has given you a new purpose and lease and meaning in life. You have engaged with it, you are rejoicing it,
Yes.
you are in front of the camera, you've been behind the camera for a long time.
Yes.
When I mean the word in front of the camera, even the book is in front of the camera,
Yes,
so to speak.
yes.
It is a public property
Yes,
now.
yes.
It's available. What has this meant for you personally? I mean, apart from the fact that we all have a story to tell, has this done more for you than that? It's not just telling of a story.
Sanjiv, what it has done for me, this book is something I cannot explain to you or express to you, but it's given me a sense of freedom. It has been, I have let it out into the zone.
Public domain.
It's out in the open, it's out in the universe. Something that was within me and was eating me up from inside, I've let it out through my book and through my podcast. And I'm being very open and frank about it, because what I think and feel is what I speak, unlike people who have two tongues. So I'm very open-minded, and I think it's my open-mindedness and frankness of speaking on the face, whether good or bad, that has made me, people love me or like me for what I am. So those feelings for me is this, and this I think is not the end. This book is not the end, but I think it's the beginning of something which is going to get bigger. This is my feeling. I have this feeling. I don't know how it goes. The sale of the books or coming on. Today we launched the e-book or we call the Kindle. Today the book is on Kindle. It's all over the world. I'm going to do the Audible for it, which is going to happen. And then the subsequent talk of a documentary which may happen. is all the points of leading into all this. So I don't know where it's going to reach, but definitely I'm enjoying my journey, whatever I'm doing. That's for sure.
Before we move to the next subject, I do want to say a word about Manju, who I think has been instrumental in writing your story.
Yes,
I think the manner, which I mentioned to you the other day as well, the manner in which Manju has organized the book, it could have been organized in 10 different ways.
yes,
It has got a arc of time, but it is also specific to your engagement with a individual.
yes,
It tells this you vis-a-vis that story of that individual
yes.
in that period of time. So I think
We need
kudos
to,
to her.
kudos to her, and she was with me all morning today.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately.
did mention to her, and I want to say this here.
Yeah.
Manju's done a very good job in
Yes,
putting
she
the
has.
story. At the end of the day, yeah, a story, if it wasn't put into a certain bookends and certain frames, when you're telling a 75 years of story with so many angles to it, you say regret and betrayal and freedom and wisdom, and there's so many parts to it. I think she's done a very, very good job.
I think she's done a great job, Sanjeev. And I was with her this morning, and she called me up and said, "Sir, I've not met you for very long. Can I come and see you?" So I said, "Sure." So she came and spent the morning with me. We had lunch together. In fact, I'm just coming there. And she came and she said, "Sir, I've not met you for so long. And, I'm missing something. I want to come and meet you and talk to you." She bought something very nice from Pondicherry for me, a small gift or whatever. And she is been, I think, a very major reason for this book coming out, because her persistence, her enthusiasm, her perseverance. I'm a very difficult person to sit down and talk. And she made me do that over a period of 4 years. And she said, "I want to come. All I'm asking you is to talk. I'm not asking you to write." And I just talked and talked and talked and talked, and she listened.
Yeah.
This book became a 620-page book.
Yeah.
And out of that, we took out all the pictures of what my mother left me as a legacy. We put them in. It all turned out to be so good eventually. And she has got a lot of recognition from this book also, because she is now being recognized. She's getting offers to write books for people.
Right.
And she told me, she said, "Sir, you know what you've done to me?" I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm happy for you." So these things are happening, and I've got her out of a bad place to a good place. And now she's in a very nice place, and she's happy what she's doing, and she's come into her own. So I'm very happy for her, and I'm thankful for her and grateful for her for what she's done. I'll be ever grateful to her for that.
The one very good thing about the book is, Rajan, when one is reading it, and for those of us who know you, or even for those who don't know you, obviously because she has taken the ad verbatim and you have told her the story, she hasn't tried to change the tone of that voice.
Yes.
Because when you're reading it, it sounds like Rajan is speaking to you.
Yes. That's exactly what it was.
And I think that's the beauty of how the book came about. All right. Before we head out, I have one last chapter to talk to you about. You say that this book has given you freedom. It has made you take out the hurricanes that resided within. Are there ghosts that live with you that you're not able to shake off? Ghosts of you've talked about who you may have wronged, and that's fine. It's done what is done. Yeah. But are there some shadows and ghosts that you carry with you, which you say, "I've done what I've done, it is what it is, but it'll kind of remain on my shoulder and weigh heavy on my shoulder"?
Very good question, Sanjeev. As far as ghosts and shadows are concerned, for a person like me, who is a spitfire, when it comes to telling people on their face who and what they are, whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, I give them a long rope to hang themselves. I have no ghosts or skeletons in my cupboard left. Yes, every person does have skeletons in their cupboard, which they don't talk about and don't have the balls to talk about. But I have at least had something, some balls to talk about the skeletons in my cupboard, which I have. But beyond that, as far as ghosts are concerned, like something which I should not have done, and they still are within me and haunting me, I don't think I have any. But the ones which I had, which was the regret and everything like I talked about, I've let that out and I've admitted it, that those were my faults. But ghosts and shadows, I don't think I have any. Otherwise, it would reflect on my face. And when you see your face, like I saw Dutt Saab's face, Dutt Saab's face when he walked in, you're like a panther. And when he walked into a party or an event, people turned and looked at him. He had that aura about his face, it's like a halo behind him. Because he said what he meant, and he meant what he said. And he never bowed down to anything in spite of the problems that he faced in his life, which were so many, which we all know about. He walked like a tiger. And I learned that from him. So when I walk, I enter any party or an event, I walk straight with nothing to hide. Nobody can come up and say that you did this and you did not talk about it. That I would like to challenge. And that is the reason why. And these things show on your face. When the person को घुन्ना होता है ना, घुन्ना या मीसना हम कहते हैं पंजाबी में, जो होता है, some people who are too nice, उनसे डरना चाहिए. So when somebody is too nice to you, I get scared of those people. So when somebody talks on your face and bad words के साथ भी बात करता है, वो और अच्छे दिल का है. When you speak bad words, because that's your natural way of speaking, वो आदमी दिल का एकदम साफ है. तो जो आदमी जो जी हजूर, यस सर, नो सर, 3 bags फुल सर बोलता है ना, उससे थोड़ा डरना चाहिए. So you have to understand and read those characters, which over the years I've learned. I'm a very good judge of character. So that has helped me a lot in life to decide who my friends are and who my enemies are. But I keep my enemies closer. If you know what I'm saying. You know what? So that's how it is. As far as ghosts and shadows are concerned, I don't think I have any. Otherwise, I would not be the way I am sitting and talking to you today.
Many of the people in the book from the earlier times may or may not be with us today.
Yes.
But those that are, and you may have lost contact with them, but ever since the emergence of the book, has anybody got in touch with you and said, यार ये तो मैं भूल ही गया था, और फिर आपने या ये बात क्यों की आपने, ये तो नहीं करनी चाहिए थी, कमाल है आपको अभी तक ये याद था, मेरे को अंदाज ही नहीं था कि ये आपको. Have there been any such reaction?
No. In fact, all the people whom I've met and interacted with, who've been in touch with me, I've called up and said that, yaar, hats off to you. You have done something which we didn't have the guts or the gall to do it, but you've done it. And that is the standard uniform reaction which I'm getting from everybody. So there's nobody whom I think has said, यार ये तो तुमने बात बोली नहीं, ये बात में. Of course, like you said, there are a lot of untold stories. But I told you that day when we met for dinner, that these untold stories, let sleeping dogs lie.
Yes.
These are such personal things which you have experienced with those people who have come into my life, that it's not something you talk about.
Yes.
You cannot, because it will not be fair for them, and out of privacy and what you've seen and heard, it will not be fair to talk about it. So I think whatever I've said, I've kept that dignity and respect for those people and mentioned them all in good light.
Pardanashi doesn't mean basically.
Yes, it's not. It doesn't mean. Just because I've been in situations with them which have been embarrassing for them and helped them out or tried to help them out, doesn't mean that I should expose them. But these things, you and me, we all face them in life, and we don't talk about it. So that amount of balance, or that divide, has to remain, and that should remain and die with you.
With the book or beyond, what would you like to see happen? You're a person who needs a constant excitement.
Yes.
Cars, Temu. There are cycles of excitement.
Yes.
And I think businesses,
Yes.
these are, in some ways, I mean, you're a very astute businessman, but nevertheless, there is an expiry date for something that sets in and needs to be renewed. And as I'm sure you may be having a cycle of a new horizon.
Yes.
Anything you want to share at this stage? Or?
No, actually, I'm in a good place now, except I am an addict. I'm an addict of something today, which is of Temu, as you all know. And that addiction has become like an alcoholic or a drug addict. And I'm trying to get out of that addiction. There's no rehab for that. I have gone so much into it that today my house is full of clothes and shoes and watches and glasses that there's no place to keep it. But I keep clicking into Temu every day. It cost me about 125, 150 dirham a day. But when the bags come...
That's a lot of packages.
There's a lot of packages. There were 7, 8 bags coming. And the thrill of opening it is like a child. I'm opening a gift up and I like what I see. But I'm just collecting. But then I call friends over and say, come and see whatever you want, take. So that's something that it's like a childish behavior of getting these things. But beyond that, my urge or my fantasy for cars has always been there. And that still remains, thanks to Mr. Asim Hussain, who keeps plunging me and showing me videos of new cars coming in. I just got another one yesterday, a new MG Cyberstar, which I picked up yesterday. I don't need them. I have 5 cars. But it's just the urge of owning it and having it, which I had in Bombay, which I have now. But even that now is waning. It's like gambling. I'm very fond of gambling. I'm an absolutely addicted gambler.
Yes.
And for me today, gambling has become like a game and sport. I win, I don't feel anything. I lose, I don't feel anything. In fact, when I win, I can't sleep at night. I wake up at 6 in the morning. The day I lose, I get a very sound sleep. I get up at 10, 11, and that is something very unusual. But we have a good group of friends, we have fun, because after a certain time, the amount of money that you win or lose is not important, because it doesn't hurt you or pinch you. But I love the game, I love gambling, but my urge for going to Las Vegas or going to other gambling casinos, which was every year for the last 35, 40 years, has waned down and it doesn't excite me anymore. Right?
Because that is also a cycle.
It's a cycle which is expired. I mean, now going to casino doesn't excite me anymore. I would prefer meeting the few friends we have here. We have a group. We play, I enjoy it, and that's enough for me. As far as traveling goes, I love traveling. I've been traveling for the last 35, 40 years. Going for cruises every year has been very exciting for me. And that remains as an exciting, because I would love to see new places, new countries. The thought of going cruising is not unpacking and packing and taking flights and waiting at airports. It's very good for me because it's very convenient. That is something that I love doing. And meeting friends, having parties has been there. So my life is becoming very simpler and down to earth and kind of thing.
If you say so. I don't think it's that simple.
No, it's simple. It's simple. And I have big parties.
Yes, and
I
wonderful
have
ones.
parties for 200 people, 300 people, and everything. Now there's a story behind these parties, and I mentioned that in my book. A small panwala taught me a story. When I had a party in Bombay, I'm repeating it again, and I had about 400 people. We used to have a black and white ball in December every year in my bungalow, and everybody wanted to be invited. It was like a mega event, and everybody wanted an invite for my party. So I used to call them, it should last till 3, 4 in the morning. I used to have a panwala outside. who after the dinner they come out, वो पान वान खाते हैं ना, so they used to come out drunk and everything. And next day the पान वाला came to me and he said, sir, आपको एक बात बताऊं, छोटी मुंह बड़ी बात। मैंने कहा क्या? तो कहता है आपको सब गालियां और बुरी बात, आपके बारे में बुरा क्यों बोलते हैं? मैंने कहा व्हाट डू यू मीन? कहते हैं आप ये बाहर आते हैं ना तो आपको गालियां देते हैं और आपके खिलाफ बातें करते हैं कि अपने आप को समझता क्या है, पैसा होगा, ये होगा, गाड़ियां हैं, पैसा है, अपने आप शो ऑफ करता है और इतनी बुरी गंदी बातें करते मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता हूँ। दैट पर्सन टॉट मी अ लेसन दैट डे. But that I should have gone into my shell and said no more big parties because none of them are your friends. 95% of the people who come there are not your friends. They're not your well-wishers. They don't think well of you. They think bad of you or jealous of you, of your success. But I still have those parties today, even here. And I have the same feeling about them. 95% of the people coming there are not your friends. They're just there because I thought I changed my thought process. I said, no, I can't isolate myself and think, yaar, ye mera dost nahi, main usko nahi bulaunga. So how long can you do that? So I still have those big parties, but I changed my thought process. I said, now I'm going to call my friends, have dinner, have drinks, have music, have whatever I want, because I want them to entertain me. I need to be entertained, so I'm calling them. Barring a few close friends whom I know they are and I've identified them, whom I meet separately, but these big parties are meant for that. My thought process has changed. And I continue to throw those big parties. And I continue to do what I'm doing. And I have 8 goldfish and 1 black fish in the entrance, if you notice.
Yes.
And that's feng shui. The next day, a couple of goldfish die. And that's the bad eye or the evil eye that they've taken upon themselves and die because so many people have come home. And I replaced that. And that is something that I continue to do. And this happens invariably at every big party I throw.
Really?
Yes. So life continues, but that's the world you have to live in. You cannot isolate yourself and say, मेरी तो 3 दोस्त हैं, मैं उनके साथ ही उठूंगा बैठूंगा, नहीं. You have to. And that's life. So that's how I look at it.
Rajan, in closing, let's go back to the beginning a little bit. You have extensively spoken of your love for your mother, your admiration for her. You also spoken that you were not a very good father.
Yes.
And you drew on the fact that probably you felt that your father did not give you what you needed, and there was some kind of flow of energy. It's not only because in some ways you mentioned that you might have been a disappointment which you drew energy from, but why did you not get the love you needed from your father? What do you think was the matter? What went wrong? It's not explained in the book enough to be able to draw from it. It talks of the positive of your mother. It talks of the relationship between your father and Tayaji. It talks about how he reinvented himself post the nationalization of insurance. But there's not enough about you and him.
There isn't, because that was a very ugly part of my life. That was a very ugly, because as a child, there is fear about your father. We all have a fear of our father, of talking, कि भाई जवाब देना या आवाज ऊंची उठानी. You don't do this in those days, of course. Now it's different, but that fear was there. And there is a very thin line between fear and breaking of that fear and getting into a rebellious situation.
Animosity.
That happened. When that happened, I was living in fear. And when that fear broke, and the incident with which it happened is something that I can't discuss or describe to you, how it happened, because it's been very ugly. But that fear, when it grew into rebel, I will do everything that he doesn't want me to be or do. I did. That is something of there. But he never showed any affection and love for me in other terms. But the benefit of that went to my brother. After I rebelled and I created that situation of whatever I did, he realized that if I do this with my other son, my younger brother Vinay, he might lose him also. So he got all the love and affection and whatever was needed, and he had the advantage of getting all that love and everything he got, which I didn't get. But on the hindsight, I thought that if I had not done what I did, I would not be the man I am today. So that's something that is there. And I remember a friend of mine, Gulshan Ewing, who used to be editor of Filmfare with JC Jain. So she was very close with my dad and JC. And until I became a success, he would not admit it, that I've been successful, because it was out of his control. I'd gone out of his control. But he refused to admit that I'm successful. Till Gulshan, I remember, she told him, he says, Lal, admit it that your son is successful now. Admit it. Why are you always talking bad about him or ill of him? He says, you're like spitting on the sky and the spit is falling on your face. I remember those words even today. He says, the spit is falling on your face. It's not hurting him. I said, he's successful. Why don't you admit it and pamper him and tap him on the back and says, well done, son. That's the time when he changed. And that's the time when things got a little better with us. When I took them both on a world tour, I said, come on, Dad and Mom, I'm taking on a world tour. I took them on a world tour and bonded with them and created a relationship. But unfortunately, he died young. He was, I think, 68 or 70 when he died. But when he was dying, I remember when he had his heart attack, he held my hand and he says, I'm sorry, son, for whatever it is. You were right, but whatever you've done, I'm sorry for it. And I hope we had a better relationship. And I realized, or whatever it was so emotional. But I forgave him long back, whatever had happened. And that was the only part of that love and affection which he showed for me. Not that he didn't love me or anything, I'm sure he did. And but our family has been very strange. The brothers he had, and how relations are, how they like to pull you down. I'm a classic example of how my relatives, my uncles and aunts, wanted to pull me down. And you have to be careful of your relations, not your friends, because they are the ones who really pull you down in life. And that, I'm sure, happens to a lot of us. So you be careful of your relations more than your friends, because they are not happy with your success. So these are things which I've learned and I've seen. And that's made me into a much stronger man today. So I owe that to my dad. And of course, now I can say I loved him for that, or whatever it was. And I miss him today, that I wish he was alive. And like I took care of my mother for 35 years before she passed away. And I'm sure I would have done the same for my dad. So I'm expecting, I hope my children do the same thing for me, like I did for my mother, but then I don't expect it of them. But if it does happen, I'll be happy. If it does, I'll be satisfied.
Great. Well, I think a lot of people would draw a large amount of inspiration from everything that you say, Rajan, and everything that you've spoken of. I think it's been a story of joy, atonement, struggle, success, and some indulgence now, which I think you're giving yourself some self-love that you richly deserve. Thank you. It has been wonderful to speak with you, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading your book.
Thank you, Sanjiv, for being with me and talking to me. I think you're one of the only people, only people who've read the book and who've had this discussion. It shows your genuineness, your good-heartedness, your love for me as a true friend, which is very hard to find. I really value our friendship and association. I'm so happy that I met you and Poonam, and I hope we continue to have this relationship and friendship for good, because good friends are very hard to find and you're very precious to me. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.